So good day everyone, I am Izle Gapa and I will present to you the softball rule number 9 to 12. So for the rule 9, dead ball or the ball in play. For the section 1, the ball is dead. So the ball is dead and not in a play in the following circumstances. Letter A, when the ball is bat illegally. B, when the batter steps from one box to another when the pitcher is FP only taking the signal or appears to be taking the signal from the pitcher's plate, or SP only steps on the pitching plate. For letter C, when no pitch is declared. D, when a pitch ball touches any part of the batter's person or clothing, whether the ball is struck at or not. For letter E, when a foul fly ball is not caught. F, when the offensive team causes interference. G, when a fair bat ball strikes an umpire or runner. Then, for the letter G, there is a number 1, before touching a fielder including the pitcher, and before passing a fielder other than the pitcher without being touched, or after passing a fielder excluding the pitcher, and in the umpire's judgment another fielder had a chance to make an out. So note, when he is hit by a fair untouched bat ball while in contact with his base, unless he intentionally interfere with the ball, or a fielder making a play, the ball will become dead or remains alive, depending on the position of the fielder closest to the base. So next, letter H. When the ball Letter H, when the ball is outside the established playing limits of the playing area. For letter I, when an accident to a batter, runner prevents him from proceeding to the awarded base, he may be substituted. Then letter J, SP, or when the batter bunts or chops the pitch ball. Letter K, FP only, when a wild pitch or pass ball goes under, over, or through the backstop when the umpire calls time. M, when any part of the batter's person is hit with his own bat ball while still in the batter box. N, when a runner runs bases in reverse order or off the baseline while not attempting to advance there to confuse the fielders or make a travesty of the game. Letter O, when a runner runs bases when the coach near third base runs in the direction of home plate on or near the baseline while the fielder is attempting to make a play on a bat or thrown ball and thereby draws a throw to home plate. For letter P, when one or more members of the offensive team stand or collect at or around the base to which a runner is advancing, thereby confusing the fielders and adding to the difficulty of making a play. Letter Q, FP only, when a runner fails to keep contact with base to which he is entitled until a legally pitch ball has been released. For letter R, SP only, when a runner fails to keep contact with the base to which he is entitled until a legally pitched ball has reached home plate. For letter S, SP only, after each strike or ball. So for letter T, when a black ball is declared. Letter U, when a batter enters the batter's box with or uses an altered bat. Letter V, when a batter enters the batter's box with uses an illegal bat. Letter W, when with less than 2 out and a runner on first base, a fielder intentionally drops a fair fly ball, including a line drive or FP and SP, or bunt, FP only, that could be caught by an infielder with ordinary effort after it is controlled with a hand or glove. Note, if an infield fly is ruled, it has precedence over an intentionally dropped ball. For letter X, when a fielder carries a live ball into dead ball territory. Letter Y, when time has been called and a defensive player is making an appeal. Letter Z, when the batter fails to enter the batter's box within 10 seconds after the umpire calls play. Ball A, when any person other than a team member enters the playing field and creates interference AB. When the batter runner steps back toward home plate to avoid or delay a tag by a fielder. AC, when an offensive team member deliberately erases the line of the batter box. And for AD, when a batter is issued unintentionally based on balls. Then for AE, when a strike is called on the batter for stepping out the batter's box and delaying the game. So for the section 2, the ball is in play. The ball is in play in the following circumstances. For letter A, at the start of the game in each half inning when the pitcher has the ball while standing in his pitching position and the plate umpire has called play ball. Letter B, when the infield fly rule is enforced. Letter C, when a thrown ball goes past a fielder and remains in playable territory. Letter D, when a fair ball strikes an umpire or runner on fair ground after passing a fielder, excluding the pitcher, and no other fielder had a chance to make an out, or touching a fielder, in- including the pitcher. What a fair ball strikes an umpire on foul ground for letter E. For letter F, when the runners have reached the base to which they are entitled after the fielder illegally fields a bat thrown or pitcher ball. For letter G, when a runner is called out for passing a preceding runner. Exceptions: when a runner is called out for passing a preceding runner while the ball is dead, the ball will remain dead. For letter H, when no play is being made on an obstructed runner, the ball shall remain alive until the play is over. Letter I, when a fair ball is legally bought. Letter J, when a runner must return in reverse order while the ball is in play. Letter K, when a runner acquires the right to a base by touching it before being put out. For letter L, when a base is dislodged while runners are progressing around the bases. For letter M, when a runner runs more than 0.91 meters or 3 feet from his base path in regular or reverse order to avoiding being touched by the ball in the hand of a fielder. So for letter N, when a runner is tagged or forced out. Letter O, when the umpire calls the runner out for failure to return and touches the base when play is resumed after a suspension of play. For letter P, when a live ball appeal is legally being made. Then for letter Q, when the batter hits the ball. For letter R, when a live ball strikes a photographer, ground groundskeeper, policeman, and etc. assigned to the game when a fly ball has been legally caught. Then, when a thrown for letter T, when a thrown ball strikes an offensive player. Letter U, if the batter drops the bat and the ball rolls against the bat in fair territory and in the umpire's judgment there was no intention to interfere with the course of the ball. Then letter V, when a thrown ball strikes an umpire. W, whenever the ball is not dead as provided in section 1 of this rule. Letter X, when a thrown ball accidentally strikes a coach. For letter Y, FP only when ball has been called on the batter and when 4 balls have been called but the batter may not be put out before he reaches the first base. Then for FP only when a strike has been called on the batter and when 3 strikes have been called on the batter. So for the AAFP only when a foul tip has been legally caught. For ABSP only as long as there is a play as a result of the hit by the batter. This includes a subsequent appeal play. For AC, FP only when the ball slips from a pitcher's hand during his wind-up or during the backswing. For AD, when a runner is called out for getting a running start from a base or on any fly ball. For AE, when a runner abandons a base, does not attempt to advance to the next base, enters his team area, or leaves the field or of play and is called out. So for the AF, when a runner is called out for being physically assisted by anyone other than another runner, then the exception is when assisted on a foul ball not caught, the ball will remain dead. For AGSP only, the ball remains live until the umpire calls time. This should be done when the ball is held by a player in the infield, and in the opinion of the umpire, all play has ceased. So we'll proceed to the section 3, the delayed dead ball. So there are 5 situations when a violation of the rule occurs. An umpire recognizes it and the ball remains live until the conclusion of the play. These situations are A. An illegal pitch, B. Catcher's obstruction, C. FP only, plate umpire inference, D. Obstruction, and E. Detached equipment contacting a thrown ball, a pitch ball, or a fair bat ball. So for the Rule 10, or the umpires. So Section 1, Power and Duties. So the umpires are the representatives of the league or organization by which they have been assigned to a particular game, and as such are authorized and required to enforce each section of these rules. They have been they have the power to order a player, coach, captain, or manager to do or omit to do any act which in their judgment is necessary to give force and effect to one or all of these rules, and to inflict penalties as herein prescribed. The plate umpire shall have the authority to make decisions on any situation not specifically covered in the rules. So, the general information for umpires. For letter A, the umpire shall not be a member of either team. Examples: the player, coach, manager, officer, scorer, or sponsor. For letter B, the umpire should be sure of the date, time, and place for the game and should arrive at the playing field to 20 to 30 minutes ahead of time, start the game on time, and leave the field when the game is over. For letter C, the male and female umpire must wear: number 1, a powder blue long or short sleeved shirt. Letter number 2, dark navy blue socks. Number 3, dark navy blue slacks. Number 4, dark navy blue cap with white and blue trim ISF letters on the front. For number 5, dark navy blue ball bag or plate only. Then number 6, dark navy blue jacket and or sweater. For 7, black shoes and belt. Then number 8, a white t-shirt worn under the powder blue shirt. Then for letter D, umpires must not wear exposed jewelry that may pose a hazard. So for the exception, medical alert bracelets and or necklaces. For the letter E, the plate umpire in fast pitch must wear a black face mask, black or tan padding, and black throat protector, and a body protector and shin guards with knee protection. An extended wire protector may be worn in lieu of a throat protector on the mask. So that for the letter F, the umpires should introduce themselves to the captains, manager, and scorers. Letter G, the umpire should inspect the playing field boundaries, equipment, and clarify all ground rules to both teams and their coaches. For letter H, each umpire shall have the power to make decision on violation committed in any time during playing time or during suspension of play until the game is over. Letter I, neither umpire has the authority to set aside or question decisions made by the other within the limits or of their respective duties as outlined in these rules. For letter J, an umpire may consult his associate at any time. However, the final decision shall rest with the umpire whose exclusive authority it was to make the decision and who requested the opinion of the other. For letter K, in order to define their respective duties, the umpire judgment the umpire judging balls and strikes shall be designated as the plate umpire. the umpire judging base decisions as the base umpire. So, for the letter L, the plate umpire or base umpire shall have equal authority to number 1, call a runner out of leaving base too soon. Number 2, call time for suspension of play. Number 3, remove or eject a player, coach, or manager from the game for violation of rules. Then number 4, call all illegal pitches. Then number 5, determine and call an infield play. So now we will proceed to letter M. The umpire shall declare the batter or runner out without waiting for an appeal for such decision in all cases where such player is retired in accordance with these rules. So note, unless appeal to the umpire does not call a player out or penalize him for having failed to touch base, leaving a base too soon on a caught fly ball, batting out of order being an unreported substitute, being an illegal re-entry, the replacement player or returning withdrawn player do not report, being a runner who switched position on bases with another runner or making an attempt to go to second base after reaching first base, as provided in these rules. For letter N, umpire shall not penalize a team for infraction of a rule when imposing the penalty would be the advantage of the offending team. Letter O, failure of umpires to adhere to Rule 10 shall not be grounds for protest. These are guidelines for umpires. So for the section 2, the plate umpire. So for the letter A, shall take a position in back of the catcher. He shall have full charge of and be responsible for the proper conduct of the game. Letter B, shall call all balls and strikes. Letter C, shall by agreement and in cooperation with the base umpire call plays, hit balls, fair or foul, legal or illegal cut balls on plays that would necessitate the base umpire leaving the infield. The plate umpire shall assume the duties normally required to the base umpire. So for the letter D, shall determine and declare whether number 1, whether a batter bunts or chops a ball. Letter number 2, a bat ball touches the person or clothing of the batter. For letter E, shall render base decisions when required to do so. For letter F, shall determine when the game is forfeited. Then for letter G, shall assume all duties when assigned as a single umpire to a game. So, we will proceed to the section 3, the base umpire. So, letter A, shall take such as positions on the playing field as required in accordance with the relevant umpire systems. Letter B, shall assist the plate umpire in every way to enforce the rules of the game. For the section 4, responsibilities of a single umpire. So, if only one umpire is assigned, his duty and jurisdiction shall extend to all points. The umpire's starting position for each pitch shall be from behind home plate. On each bat, ball, or play that develops, the umpire shall move out from behind the plate and into the infield to obtain the best position for any play that develops. For the section 5, the change of umpire. So umpires cannot be changed during a game by the consent of the opposing teams unless an umpire is incapacitated by injury or illness. So for the section 6, umpire's judgment. So there shall be no appeal from any decision of any umpire on the grounds that he was not correct in his conclusion as to whether a bat ball was fair or foul, a runner safe or out, a pitch ball a strike or ball, or on any play involving accuracy of judgment. No decision rendered by any umpire shall be reversed except that he be convinced it is in violation of one of these rules. In case the manager, captain, or either team does seek a review of a decision based solely on a point of the rules, The umpire whose decision is in question shall, if in doubt, confer with his associate being before taking any action. But under no circumstances shall any player or person other than the manager or the captain or either team have any legal right to protest on any decision and seek its reversal on a claim that it is in the conflict with these rules. So, we will proceed to the section 7. Section 7 is signals. For the letter A, to indicate that play shall begin or be resumed, the umpire shall call play ball, and the same time motion the pitcher to deliver the ball. For letter B, a strike shall be indicates by raising the right hand upward, indicating the number of strike by the fingers, and at the same time calling strike in a clear and decisive voice. So for the letter C, to indicate a ball, no arm signal is used. Letter D, to indicate the total count, balls and strike the ball are called first. So for the letter E, to indicate a foul, the umpire shall call foul ball and extend an arm horizontally away from the diamond according to the direction of the ball. So for the letter F, to indicate a fair ball, the umpire shall extend an arm toward the center of the diamond using a pumping motion. For the letter G, to indicate a batter or runner out, the umpire shall raise the right hand upward above the right shoulder with the fist close, I mean. For the letter H, to indicate that player is safe, the umpire shall extend both arms horizontally to the side of the body with palms toward the ground. For the letter I, to indicate suspension of play, the umpire shall call time and at the same time extend both arms above the head. The other umpire shall immediately acknowledge the suspension of play with similar action. For the letter J, to indicate a delayed dead ball, the umpire shall extend the left arm horizontally with fist close. So next, for the letter K, to indicate a trap ball, the umpire shall extend both arms horizontally to the side of the body with palms toward the ground. So for the number 1, to indicate a ground rule double, the umpire shall extend the right hand above the head and at the same time indicate with two fingers the number of bases awarded. For letter M, to indicate a home run, the umpire shall extend the right hand with fist close above the head and circle the arm in a clockwise movement. For letter N, to indicate an infield fly, the umpire shall call infield fly if fair but the batter is out. The umpire shall extend one arm above the head. So for the letter O, to indicate not to pitch, the umpire should raise one hand with the palm facing the pitcher. No pitch shall be declared if the pitcher pitches while the umpire has his hand in said position. So next, we will proceed to the section 8, the suspension of play. For letter A, an umpire may suspend play when, in his judgment, conditions justify such action. For letter B, play shall be suspended whenever the plate umpire leaves his position to brush the plate or to perform other duties not directly connected with the calling of plays. For letter C, the umpire shall suspend play whenever a batter or pitcher step out of position for a legitimate reason. For letter D, an umpire shall not call time after pitcher has started the wind up. For letter E, an umpire shall not call time while any play is in progress. So next, letter F, in case of injury except in the umpire's judgment with a serious injury which may put the player in danger, time shall not be called until all plays is progress have been completed or runners have been held at their base. For the effect of Section A, in the case of injury, when time is called, the ball is dead, and runners may be awarded a base or bases that they would have made in the umpire's judgment had the injury not occurred. For letter G, umpire shall not suspend play at the request of players, coaches, or managers until all action in progress by either team has been completed. For the letter H, SP only, when in the opinion of an umpire, all immediate play is apparently completed, time should be called. So now we will proceed to the Rule 11, the protest. So Section 1, protest that will not be received. So protest shall not be received or considered if they are based solely on a decision involving the accuracy of judgment on the part of an umpire, or if the team lodging the protest won the game. Example of protests that will not be considered are letter A, whether a battle ball was fair or foul, letter B, whether a runner was safe or not, then letter C, a pitch ball was a strike or a ball, then letter D, whether a pitch was legal or illegal. Then letter E, whether a runner did or did not touch a base. Letter F, whether a runner left the base too soon on any caught fly ball. Then letter G, whether a fly ball was or was not caught legally. Then letter H, whether it was or was not an infield fly. So I will repeat the letter B, whether a runner was safe or not, or out, I mean. So next is letter I, whether there was or was not an inference. Letter J, whether there was or was not an obstruction. Letter K, whether a player or live ball did or did not enter a dead ball area or touch some object or person in a dead ball area. For letter L, whether a bat, ball did or did not clear the fence in flight. Letter M, whether the field is fit to continue or resume play. Letter N, whether there is sufficient light to continue play. And letter O, any other matter involving only the accuracy of the umpire's judgment. So for the section 2, protest that will be received. So protest that shall be received and considered include matters of the following types. For the letter A, misinterpretation of a playing rule. Letter B, failure of an umpire to apply the correct rule to given situation. Letter C, failure to impose the correct penalty for a given violation. Note, number 1, protest for the above must be made before the next pitch or before all infielders have left fair territory, or if on the last play of the game before the umpires leave the playing field. For number 2, after one pitch has been thrown, legal or illegal, no change can be made on any umpire's ruling. For letter D, eligibility of a team roster member. Then the note, protests for the above are submitted to the appropriate authority, not the umpires, and may be made at any time subject to the provision of Rule 11, Section 5. So now we will proceed to the Section 3. Section 3 is protests involving judgment and interpretation of rule. Protests may involve both a matter of judgment and the interpretation of a rule. So an example of a situation of this type follows. With one out and the runners on second and third bases, the batter fielded out. The runner on the third tag up after the catch, the player on second did not. The runner on third crossed the plate before the ball was played at second base for the third out. So for the section 4, notification of intent to lodge protest. The notification of intent to protest must be made immediately before the next pitch. The exception is player ineligibility. So for the letter A, the manager or acting manager of the protesting team shall immediately notify the plate umpire that the game is being continued under protest. So the plate umpire shall in turn notify the opposing manager and official scorekeeper. Then, for letter B, all interested parties shall take notice of the condition surrounding the making of the decision that will aid in the correct determination of the issue. So, as you can see, there is a note. So, we will proceed now to the section 5, time to lodge an official protest. So, the official written protest must be filed within a reasonable time. Letter A, in the absence of a league or tournament rule fixing the time limit for filing a protest should be considered if filed within a reasonable time depending upon the nature of the case and difficulty for obtaining the information in which to base the protest. To letter B, within 48 hours after the scheduled time of the contest is generally considered a reasonable time. So for section 6, information required for written protest. So the formal written protest should contain of the following information. So for the letter A, the date, time, and place of the game. Then letter B, the names of the umpires and scorers. Then letter C, the rules and section of the official rules or local rules under which the protest is made. Then letter D, the decision and conditions surrounding the making of the decision. Then letter E, all essential facts involved in the matter protested. So now let's go to the section 7, the result of protest. So the decision made on a protested game must result in one of the following. So for the letter A, the protest is found invalid and the game score stands as play. Letter B, when a protest is allowed for a misinterpretation of a playing rule, the game is replayed from the point at which the incorrect decision was made, with the decision corrected. So letter C, when a protest for ineligibility of a team roster member is allowed, the game shall be forfeited by the offending team, for the letter C. So now let's proceed to the rule 12, the scoring. So section 1, the official scorer. Letter A, shall keep records of each game as outlined in the following rules. So the letter B, shall have the sole authority to make all decisions involving judgment. For example, it is the scorer's responsibility to determine whether a batter's advance to first base is the result of a hit or an error. However, a scorer shall not make a decision which conflicts the official playing rules with an umpire's decision. So for the section 2, the backs score. Letter A, each player's name and the position of I repeat. For the section 2, the back score. For letter A, each player's name and the position or positions to be played shall be listed in the order in which he batted or would have batted unless the player is legally substituted, ejected, or removed from the game, or the game ends before his turn at bat. So this is the note. As you can see, you can read it. Then the note number 1 and the note number 2. So we will proceed to the section 3, the base hit. The base hits shall not be recorded. So for the letter A, a base hit shall not be scored in the following cases. So the letter A, when a runner is forced out by a batted ball or would have been forced out except for a fielding error, For the letter B, when a player fielding a bat ball retires a preceding runner with ordinary effort. Then for the letter C, when a fielder falls in an attempt to retire a preceding runner and in the scorer's judgment, the batter runner could have been retired as at first base. Then for letter D, when a batter runner reaches first base safely as a result of a preceding runner being called out for interfering with the bat ball or a defensive player. So this is the exception. So next we will proceed to the section 4, which is the sacrifice fly balls. So a sacrifice fly ball is scored when with less than 2 outs. Then letter A, the batter scores a runner with a fly ball which is caught, or the ball or the line drive handled by an outfielder or an infielder running in the outfield is dropped and a runner scores, and in the scorer's judgment the runner could have scored after the catch had the fly ball been caught. So next, we will proceed to the section 5. So the section 5 is runs bathed in. So a run bathed in is a run scored because of one of the following reasons. For letter A, a safe hit. Letter B, a sacrifice bunt or slap hit. FP only or sacrifice fly or FP and SP. For the letter C, a foul fly caught. Then letter D, an infield put out or fielder's choice. Then letter E, a runner forced home because of obstruction, the batter being hit with a pitch ball or being given a base on ball. So for letter F, a home run and all runs scored as a result. So for the section 6, pitcher credited with a win. Pitcher shall be credited with a win in the following situation. Letter A, when he is the starting pitcher and has pitched at least 4 innings, and his team was not only in the lead when he is replaced but remains in the lead for the remainder of the game. So for the letter B, when a game is ended after 5 innings of play and the starting pitcher has pitched at least 3 innings and his team scores more runs than the other team when the game is terminated. So for the section 7, pitcher charged with a loss. A pitcher shall be charged with a loss regardless of the number of innings he has pitched if he is replaced when his team is behind in the score and his team thereafter fails to tie the score or gain the lead. So for the section 8, the game summary. So the summary shall list the following items in this order: for letter A, the score by innings and the final score. Letter B, the runs bat in and by whom hit. Letter C, 2 base hits and by whom hit. Letter D, 3 base hits and by whom hit. Letter E, home runs and by whom hit. And letter F, sacrifice files and by whom hit. Then letter G, double plays and players participating in them. Letter H, triple plays and players participating in them. Letter I, number of walks given by each pitcher. Letter J, number of batters struck out by each pitcher. Then letter K, number of hits and runs allowed by each pitcher. Then letter I, the name of the winning pitcher. So for the letter M, the name of the losing pitcher. Letter N, the time of the game. Letter O, the names of the umpires and scorers. Letter P, FP only, stolen bases and by whom. Letter Q, FP only, sacrifice bunts. Letter R, FP only, the names of batters hit by a pitch ball and the pitcher whom hit them. Letter S, FP only, the number of wild pitches made by each pitcher. Letter T, FP only, the number of pass balls made by each catcher. So for the section 9, stolen bases, FP only. Stolen bases are credited to the runner whether he advances 1 base unaided by a hit. a put out, an error, a force out, a fielder's choice, a pass ball, a wild pitch, or an illegal pitch. So for letter A, this includes a batter runner advancing to a second on a awarded base on ball. So next is the section 10, records of the forfeited game. So all records of a forfeited game shall be included in the official records except that of a pitcher's won-loss record. So that would be all, and thank you.